PNB recorded an increase of 7% year-on-year in total assets under management, breaching the 300 billion ringgit mark for the first time at 301.4 billion ringgit. This as the fund management company's number of account holders grew 5% to 14.1 million. Group Chairman Tan Sri Dr. Zeti Akhtar Aziz says, PNB is pleased to be able to sustain returns and growth in its assets under management amid the challenging investment environment. This sentiment had led to PNB's net income for FY 2019 shrinking 1.4% to 5.3 billion ringgit. Looking ahead, Zeti says PNB's midterm review of its strategic plan is progressing well on 3 focus areas. They are strategic asset allocation, optimal liquidity management, enterprise risk management, and organizational transformation. She says the fund is looking to accelerate its diversification strategy across asset classes to optimize returns and minimize risk exposure. PNB is also developing a framework for comprehensive outsourcing, which will allow it to explore new investment strategies and alternative investment instruments. The criminal case against Goldman Sachs Group over $6.5 billion USD worth of 1MDB bonds will be heard in September, after its lawyers said there were issues with paperwork and sought more time to take instructions from their clients. Goldman Sachs sent its representative, David Cope, who is the head of financial compliance crime, to appear for the procedural hearing today. Malaysia filed charges last December, accusing the US investment bank of making false statements and misleading investors about the bond issues it had helped arrange for 1MDB, which led to the looting of huge sums from the fund. It is citing Goldman Sachs UK as the principal offender and issued summonses to 3 of its units. The court set September 30th for mention. Think tank Socio-Economic Research Centre says it will be still quite challenging for Malaysia to achieve a GDP growth of 5% this year due to the contraction in exports and slowdown in private investment figures. Executive Director Lee Heng-Yew says SERC is retaining its GDP forecast at 4.5 to 4.7% as it sees no change in the uncertainty assessments. This is in response to Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamed's statement that Malaysia can achieve GDP growth of above 5% this year, despite the current projection of 4.8 to 4.9%. Lee explains that in the remaining quarters, the external environment is still expected to be impaired by the escalation of the US-China trade war. As for the domestic front, he adds that cautious business and consumer sentiment would continue to weigh on private spending. While approved FDIs continue to remain strong, he also cautions that the continuous contraction in domestic direct investments is not a good sign. SCOMI Group's unit SCOMI Transit Projects has bagged a 122 million ringgit job from Prasarana Malaysia to design and make 7 trains for the KL monorail. SCOMI Group told Bursa Malaysia that the works are to be completed within 18 months from the issuance of a notice to proceed by Prasarana. SCOMI said its subsidiary will provide Prasarana a design guarantee bond and endemic defects bond. It will procure and supply components, services and materials required under the completion agreement. It added that the cost of the components, services and materials will be paid directly to the vendors by Prasarana. The Finance Ministry-owned company shall have the right to step in and perform the works under the completion agreement in the event of default by SCOMI. Handal Resources JV has bagged a 7-year job worth 360 million ringgit from Petronas Carigali. In a Bursa filing, Handal said the venture between Handal Engineering and Borneo Sea Offshore Engineering received a letter of award to provide a water injection module. Handal said the job will start from March 2020, with an extension option of a further 3 years. With this new contract, Handal's order book will surge to more than 950 million ringgit, which will contribute positively to the group's financials until year 2027. Group MD Sandildeep Singh Dhaliwal said this new contract is extremely important, as building its order book has been identified as the cornerstone of the company's turnaround plan. He added that the group will continue to pursue contract tenders in the oil and gas industry, in addition to its core crane business. The plan is to consolidate its business in Malaysia and then expand into the region.